Hey guys, tonight we're stepping back, way back, to a time when the Roman Empire was at its peak, and culinary delights were, well, let's just say they had a distinct flavor profile. Forget your gourmet truffle oils and artisanal sea salts. Tonight, your nose, and perhaps your entire being, will be assaulted by the omnipresent, the inescapable, the utterly essential Roman fish sauce. That's right, you're about to spend a day in the life of a Roman garum merchant, a purveyor of fermented fish guts, a true titan of taste, or at least of pungent production. You probably won't survive the smell, let's be honest. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you right now in the comments. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The first rays of Helios, or Sol Invictus as some prefer to call him, are just peeking over the Esquiline Hill, painting the sky in hues of fiery orange and soft violet. You stir on your modest lectus, the sounds of early morning Rome already seeping through the open window of your domus. It's not the gentle chirping of birds that wakes you, mind you, but the distant creak of ox carts, the first shouts of street vendors, and if you're honest, the lingering, deeply ingrained aroma of fermented fish. It's a smell that clings to your very pores, a badge of honor, or perhaps just a persistent stain from a life dedicated to garum. You stretch, your muscles protesting slightly from yesterday's exertions. The air, still cool from the night, carries a complex bouquet: damp earth, wood smoke from 100 breakfast fires, the faint, sweet scent of baking bread, and inevitably, the pungent undertone of your livelihood. You pull on your simple tunic, the fabric feeling rough against your skin, and cinch it with a belt. There's no time for a leisurely morning ritual. The market doesn't wait for anyone, especially not for a fish sauce merchant. Your competitors, the handful of other brave, or perhaps foolish souls who have chosen this particular path to prosperity, will already be preparing. Historians still argue whether the Roman diet was truly dominated by garum, or if its prevalence is overstated by surviving texts, but one thing is clear: it was everywhere. From the humblest plebeian kitchen to the most lavish senatorial banquet, garum was the salt, the umami, the secret ingredient that made everything Roman. You splash water from a small basin onto your face, the coolness a shock against your skin, and run a hand through your dark, unruly hair. No fancy mirrors for you, just a quick self-assessment. Your eyes, usually sharp, still hold a hint of sleepiness, but the gears of your mind are already turning, planning the day's strategy. Will the sardine catch be good today? Have the new vats reached optimal fermentation? Will that tricky customer, Senator Gracchus, finally settle his long overdue bill? The life of a merchant is a constant balancing act, a daily gamble against the whims of nature, the demands of customers, and the occasional outright dishonesty of your fellow man. A quick, Spartan breakfast of bread and perhaps a fig or two is all you allow yourself. Your stomach, accustomed to the rich and varied textures of Roman cuisine, often rebels against this early deprivation, but necessity dictates. You're fueled by ambition, by the desire to expand your operations, to produce the finest garum in all of Rome, perhaps even in all of Italy. You imagine the grand amphory bearing your distinctive seal, sailing across the Mediterranean, reaching the farthest corners of the empire. A man can dream, right? Even a man who smells perpetually of fish guts. As you finish your last bite, you mentally tick off the morning's immediate tasks. First stop, the Forum Piscarium, the fish market. The freshest catches, the best prices, the most reliable suppliers. They're all waiting for you. And if you're late, even by a few minutes, you risk losing out on the prime goods to another enterprising merchant, another competitor eager to get their hands on the best, most fragrant, or least foul-smelling, depending on your perspective, raw materials for their own batches of liquid gold. The city is waking up, and so are you, ready to dive headfirst into another day of fishy business. You step out of your domus into the already bustling streets, the cool morning air quickly losing its chill as the Roman sun climbs higher. The noise is immediate and overwhelming. The rumble of wooden wheels on cobblestones, the distant bellow of oxen, the shrill cries of street hawkers, and the ceaseless chatter of a city waking up. It's a sensory assault, and you navigate it with the practiced ease of a true Roman, weaving through throngs of slaves, hurried merchants, and early risers. You nod to a baker setting out his fresh loaves. The aroma of warm bread a brief, pleasant interruption to the ever-present scent of fish. You greet a fellow negotiator who deals in olive oil, exchanging a brief, grunted pleasantry. Everyone has their hustle in Rome, and yours, you remind yourself, is one of the most pungent. Your destination, the Forum Piscarium, is a short but eventful walk. This isn't your serene, picturesque morning stroll in a modern park. This is ancient Rome, a vibrant, sometimes brutal, always in motion metropolis. You dodge a cascading stream of refuse from an upper window, a common peril of Roman urban life, one that often makes you wonder why the gods invented sandals. Historians still argue whether Roman hygiene was truly as dire as some sources suggest, but you can personally attest that a quick shower is often a matter of dodging airborne unpleasantness. As you near the fish market, the air grows thick with the unmistakable scent of the sea, tinged with something else, something that's both fresh and decaying. It's the smell of yesterday's catch mingling with today's, a symphony of Piscean aromas that would send a modern nose into shock. This is your office, your battleground. The Forum Piscarium is a riot of activity. Fishermen, their faces weathered by sun and sea, are already unloading their boats, the silver scales of fish glinting in the burgeoning light. Dealers haggle loudly, their voices rising and falling in a rhythmic, ancient chant. Baskets overflow with mackerel, sardines, tuna, and countless other species, all destined for Roman tables, or in your case, Roman fermentation vats. You push your way to your usual supplier, a gruff but reliable fellow named Lucius, whose family has been fishing the Tyrrhenian Sea for generations. He sees you approaching and gives a curt nod, his eyes already assessing the quality of the fish you'll demand. Ah, the scent of money, or perhaps just a very old fish, he grumbles, a wry smile playing on his lips. You ignore the jab. It's a familiar dance. Lucius, my friend, you reply, your fish always smell of success. What triumphs have you brought us today? You inspect the catch critically, your hands moving with practiced speed over the slippery bodies. You're looking for freshness, yes, but also for quantity, for the right species. Mackerel and sardines are your bread and butter, the backbone of good garum. Too old, and the fermentation goes sour. Too fresh, and you might pay more than necessary. It's a delicate balance. You notice a particularly fine haul of plump anchovies. These will do nicely, you declare, pointing to a brimming basket. And what of the price, Lucius? May the gods bless your generosity, but not at my expense. A light joke often helps in negotiations, a little bit of banter to grease the wheels of commerce. You know the market rates, of course, and you're prepared to haggle fiercely. A denarius saved here is a denarius earned for your operations. The bargaining is intense, a rapid-fire exchange of numbers and exaggerated complaints. You counter Lucius's initial outrageous offer with one equally absurd, eventually meeting somewhere in the middle, each of you feeling like you've won a minor victory. You pay him in coinage. The clink of sesterces a satisfying sound. As you arrange for the fish to be transported to your workshop, you cast an eye around the bustling market. There, across the way, is old Marcus, your competitor, a man whose garum, you secretly believe, always tastes a little bit off. He catches your eye and offers a thin-lipped smile. The rivalry is unspoken but palpable, a quirky tidbit that always amuses you. The Romans, despite their reliance on garum, also had a peculiar fondness for muria, a brine solution made from the leftover blood and entrails of fish. While you deal in the sophisticated, rich garum, Marcus dabbles in the cruder muria, a testament to his questionable taste, you think. The sheer variety of fish products available here is mind-boggling, a true testament to Rome's insatiable appetite for seafood. The market is a microcosm of Roman life, a place where fortunes are made and lost, where the raw materials of empire are bought and sold, and where the air forever smells of fish. You turn, ready to supervise the transport of your newly acquired bounty. The real work, the stinky, glorious work, is about to begin. With your fresh haul secured, you supervise the loading of the fish onto a sturdy ox cart, the wooden wheels groaning under the weight. Your workshop, or officina, is located a short distance away, nestled among a cluster of other industrial buildings on the outskirts of the city. This isn't the forum, bathed in marble and rhetoric. This is where the real work of Rome gets done, the gritty, often smelly business of production. As you walk alongside the cart, the stench of the raw fish begins to intensify, a prelude to the olfactory adventure that awaits you. Your officina is a rather unassuming structure from the outside. Thick stone walls, a heavy wooden gate, and no windows at street level to betray the fragrant alchemy occurring within. You push open the gate, and the true nature of your enterprise reveals itself. The courtyard is paved with stone, already damp from last night's cleaning, and the air here is a dense, almost tangible wall of pungent aroma. This isn't just the smell of fish. It's the rich, complex perfume of decay and transformation, of enzymatic processes doing their slow, magnificent work. For you, it's the smell of money, of success, of your very livelihood. For a casual visitor, it would likely be the smell of instant nausea. You've become immune, of course, or so you tell yourself. Though, on particularly humid days, even you occasionally wonder if your toga will ever truly be free of the pervasive scent. The heart of your operation lies in the series of large, shallow stone vats arranged neatly within the main production area. These aren't just any vats. They are purpose-built for the fermentation of garum. Some are carved directly into the bedrock, while others are substantial, freestanding basins, all meticulously lined with waterproof plaster to prevent leakage. You pride yourself on the quality of your vats, ensuring they are always clean and well-maintained. After all, a clean vat is a happy vat, and a happy vat makes good garum. Or at least, that's what your grandfather, a garum merchant before you, always used to say. Today, many of these vats are in various stages of their transformation. Some are empty, having just yielded their golden liquid and now awaiting a fresh batch of raw materials. Others are brimming with a thick, murky, reddish-brown sludge, the raw fish, layered with salt and herbs, slowly breaking down under the Roman sun. The surface of these active vats often shimmers with an oily sheen, a testament to the fats rendering from the fish. A slight gurgling sound emanates from some, the gentle sigh of countless microorganisms doing their vital work. This is where the magic happens, or rather, the careful science. You walk among the vats, running a practiced eye over each one, checking for any signs of trouble. Is the brine level correct? Is the mixture fermenting evenly? Too much sun, and it could putrefy. Too little, and the process stalls. Historians still argue whether the Romans fully understood the microbial processes behind fermentation, or if it was more akin to a carefully guarded culinary secret passed down through generations. You, however, operate on instinct, inherited wisdom, and years of trial and error. You know what a good batch looks and smells like at each stage. You spot a new worker, a young lad recently hired, peering cautiously into one of the older, more potent vats, his face a picture of grim curiosity. "Don't get too close, boy," you chuckle, a gentle sarcasm in your voice. "Unless you fancy a permanent aroma of fish and, well, more fish." He recoils slightly, a look of genuine horror on his face. You remember your first day, the sheer overwhelmingness of the scent, the initial repulsion. Now, it's as familiar as your own breath. A quirky tidbit that often comes to mind here is the sheer dedication required. This isn't a quick process. Depending on the type of garum and the desired quality, fermentation can take weeks, even months. The best garum, the most prized varieties, were left to ferment for longer periods, developing a richer, more complex flavor profile. It's a testament to Roman patience, or perhaps their desperate need for flavor enhancers in a diet that could sometimes be bland. You reach into a small pouch on your belt and pull out a short, sturdy stick. You gently poke the surface of one vat, observing the viscous liquid, noting its color and consistency. You even bring the stick close to your nose, taking a deep, critical sniff. The aroma is robust, pungent, but beneath the initial assault, you detect the developing savory notes, the hint of umami that will define your product. Yes, this batch is progressing nicely. Another successful day, another step towards providing Rome with its essential, magnificent, and undeniably malodorous fish sauce. The new consignment of fish from Lucius has arrived, and the ox cart is now backed up to a designated unloading area near your processing vats. The air, already thick with the scent of fermentation, now gains a sharper, fresher tang of raw fish. This is where the initial, crucial sorting and preparation takes place. You oversee the unloading, your eyes sharp, ensuring that no subpar fish makes it into your precious vats. A single bad fish, like a rotten apple, can spoil the entire batch, turning your liquid gold into a rancid, unsaleable sludge. Your workers, mostly freedmen and a few trusted slaves, are already busy. Some are tasked with the manual labor of shoveling the fish into the vats, while others are meticulously inspecting each specimen. They work with a practiced efficiency born of long hours under the Roman sun and the relentless demands of your trade. You occasionally bark an instruction, a quick correction, or a word of encouragement. It's a demanding job, physically taxing and undeniably unpleasant to the uninitiated, but your team is well drilled. "Careful with those mackerel, Quintus," you call out to a young man, pointing to a pile. "We want them whole, not bruised. Bruising affects the texture, and eventually the flavor. Even in garum, presentation matters, believe it or not." Quintus nods, red-faced from the exertion and the pervasive smell, adjusting his grip on the slippery fish. You move closer, picking up a particularly plump tuna head. Roman fish sauce wasn't just made from the body of the fish. The entrails, heads, and even the blood were often included, adding to the richness and complexity of the final product. Nothing goes to waste in your ophagina. This nose-to-tail, or perhaps more accurately, snout-to-tail fin, approach to fish utilization is a testament to Roman pragmatism and their deep understanding of resource efficiency. Next, you turn your attention to the salt. This isn't just any salt. It's coarse, unrefined sea salt, hauled in from the coastal salt pans. Salt is absolutely vital to the garum-making process. It acts as a preservative, preventing outright putrefaction, and also draws out the moisture from the fish, aiding in the enzymatic breakdown. You ensure the correct ratio of salt to fish, a secret recipe passed down through generations of your family. Too little salt, and your garum will spoil. Too much, and the fermentation slows to a crawl, delaying your profits. It's a delicate balance, a culinary tightrope walk. More salt here, Lucius, you instruct. Not the same Lucius from the market, but one of your most experienced foremen. He nods, already adding another scoop of glistening white crystals to a vat currently being filled. The salt, mixed with the fish, will begin its work immediately, transforming the raw materials into the future sauce. This layering of fish and salt is a critical step, ensuring even distribution and optimal fermentation. One of the quirks of the garum production process is the inclusion of various herbs and spices. While the primary ingredients are fish and salt, some recipes call for additions like oregano, coriander, or even fenugreek, though these were more common in the more refined, expensive varieties of garum, or garum sociorum. You, however, focus on the purity of the fish flavor, believing it to be the true mark of quality. Historians still debate the precise recipes for the myriad types of garum, with some arguing that regional variations were as diverse as the Roman provinces themselves. Your family's recipe, however, is a carefully guarded secret, a blend perfected over decades. You glance at the setting sun, a reminder that the day is progressing. The sheer volume of fish to be processed is daunting. It's back-breaking work, but it's honest work, and it provides for your family and your employees. You wipe a bead of sweat from your brow, feeling the grit of salt and the slickness of fish on your hands. There's a certain satisfaction in the physical labor, in knowing that you are personally involved in every step of the creation of your product. You pick up a handful of small, shimmering scales that have fallen from a basket, feeling their smooth, cool texture. They remind you of the raw, primal nature of your business, a connection to the sea and its bounty. Soon, these raw materials will undergo their magical transformation, becoming the coveted elixir that Romans crave. The new consignment of fish from Lucius has arrived, and the ox cart is now backed up to a designated unloading area near your processing vats. The air, already thick with the scent of fermentation, now gains a sharper, fresher tang of raw fish. This is where the initial, crucial sorting and preparation takes place. You oversee the unloading, your eyes sharp, ensuring that no subpar fish makes it into your precious vats. A single bad fish, like a rotten apple, can spoil the entire batch, turning your liquid gold into a rancid, unsaleable sludge. Your workers, mostly freedmen and a few trusted slaves, are already busy. Some are tasked with the manual labor of shoveling the fish into the vats, while others are meticulously inspecting each specimen. They work with a practiced efficiency born of long hours under the Roman sun and the relentless demands of your trade. You occasionally bark an instruction, a quick correction, or a word of encouragement. It's a demanding job, physically taxing and undeniably unpleasant to the uninitiated, but your team is well drilled. Careful with those mackerel, Quintus, you call out to a young man, pointing to a pile. We want them whole, not bruised. Bruising affects the texture and eventually the flavor. Even in garum, presentation matters, believe it or not. Quintus nods, red-faced from the exertion and the pervasive smell, adjusting his grip on the slippery fish. You move closer, picking up a particularly plump tuna head. Roman fish sauce wasn't just made from the body of the fish. The entrails, heads, and even the blood were often included, adding to the richness and complexity of the final product. Nothing goes to waste in your ophicina. This nose-to-tail, or perhaps more accurately, snout-to-tail fin, approach to fish utilization is a testament to Roman pragmatism and their deep understanding of resource efficiency. Next, you turn your attention to the salt. This isn't just any salt. It's coarse, unrefined sea salt, hauled in from the coastal salt pans. Salt is absolutely vital to the garum-making process. It acts as a preservative, preventing outright putrefaction, and also draws out the moisture from the fish, aiding in the enzymatic breakdown. You ensure the correct ratio of salt to fish, a secret recipe passed down through generations of your family. Too little salt, and your garum will spoil. Too much, and the fermentation slows to a crawl, delaying your profits. It's a delicate balance, a culinary tightrope walk. More salt here, Lucius, you instruct. Not the same Lucius from the market, but one of your most experienced foremen. He nods, already adding another scoop of glistening white crystals to a vat currently being filled. The salt, mixed with the fish, will begin its work immediately, transforming the raw materials into the future sauce. This layering of fish and salt is a critical step, ensuring even distribution and optimal fermentation. One of the quirks of the garum production process is the inclusion of various herbs and spices. While the primary ingredients are fish and salt, some recipes called for additions like oregano, coriander, or even fenugreek, though these were more common in the more refined, expensive varieties of garum, or garum sociorum. You, however, focus on the purity of the fish flavor, believing it to be the true mark of quality. Historians still debate the precise recipes for the myriad types of garum, with some arguing that regional variations were as diverse as the Roman provinces themselves. Your family's recipe, however, is a carefully guarded secret, a blend perfected over decades. You glance at the setting sun, a reminder that the day is progressing. The sheer volume of fish to be processed is daunting. It's backbreaking work, but it's honest work, and it provides for your family and your employees. You wipe a bead of sweat from your brow, feeling the grit of salt and the slickness of fish on your hands. There's a certain satisfaction in the physical labor, in knowing that you are personally involved in every step of the creation of your product. You pick up a handful of small, shimmering scales that have fallen from a basket, feeling their smooth, cool texture. They remind you of the raw, primal nature of your business, a connection to the sea and its bounty. Soon, these raw materials will undergo their magical transformation, becoming the coveted elixir that Romans crave. The fermentation vats are doing their slow, magical work, but your ophicina is a hive of activity, and it's not all about passive waiting. Your workforce is a small but dedicated group, a mix of seasoned veterans and fresh-faced newcomers, all bound by the shared, and often pungent, experience of making garum. Managing them is a daily dance of delegation, encouragement, and the occasional sharp word. You stride through the production area, observing, instructing, and ensuring that everything runs smoothly. There's old Tiberius, for instance, a freedman who has been with your family's business longer than you've been alive. He's the undisputed master of decanting, his hands steady as he siphons the clear, amber liquid from the finished vats, leaving behind the sediment. His movements are slow, deliberate, a testament to years of experience. "Tiberius, my friend," you call out, "how does this batch look? Promise me it's fit for a Caesar, and not just a common soldier's ration." He grunts, a twinkle in his rheumy eyes. "Better than Caesar's, master. This one has spirit." You chuckle. His dry wit is as reliable as his decanting skills. Then there's young Lena, a slave recently assigned to your Ophicina. She's strong and eager, but still a bit clumsy, and the pervasive smell of fish sauce seems to affect her more than most. You find her struggling with a heavy amphora, trying to position it for filling. "Here, Lena," you say gently, stepping in to help. "2 hands, and mind your back." These amphorae are heavier than they look when full of liquid gold. She blushes, nodding her thanks. It's important to treat your workers with respect, even your slaves. A happy workforce is a productive workforce, and a resentful one can be problematic. Besides, a little kindness goes a long way in an establishment that smells like a forgotten seafood banquet. You move to the packing area where others are cleaning and sealing the amphorae, applying your distinctive wax seal, and attaching small tituli, or labels, indicating the type and quality of garum. This is where your brand is solidified, where your reputation leaves the Ophicina and ventures out into the city. You inspect a finished amphora, running your fingers over the smooth clay and the crisp impression of your seal. It's a moment of quiet pride. Managing your workforce isn't just about overseeing tasks. It's about resolving petty disputes, ensuring fair treatment within the bounds of Roman societal norms, of course, and occasionally dealing with a slacker. Just yesterday, you had to gently but firmly remind Gaius, one of your stronger but less diligent workers, that sleeping on the job, even briefly, would not be tolerated. "Gaius," you had said, leaning over his slumbering form, "I pay you to move fish, not to dream of them. Unless your dreams involve lifting more amphorae, perhaps you should save them for your own couch." He had jolted awake, embarrassed, and returned to his duties with renewed vigor. A touch of humor, a dash of mild sarcasm, often works better than a lash. A historical fact often overlooked is the sheer diversity of Roman labor. Your Ophicina is a prime example, with its mix of freedmen, former slaves who have bought or been granted their freedom and now work for wages, and slaves, who are property but are often skilled and integral to operations. Historians still argue about the precise economic and social dynamics between these groups, and how much agency slaves truly had in Roman society. From your perspective, you simply need skilled, reliable hands, regardless of their status. One quirky tidbit you often ponder is how the constant exposure to the garum affects your workers' health. You've heard old wives' tales that the fumes can ward off illness, or conversely, that they cause a peculiar sort of stomach ailment. You've never noticed anything definitive yourself, but then again, you've probably absorbed enough fish essence to become a walking, talking amphora. You often wonder if, in 1,000 years, archaeologists will find your remains and simply declare, "Ah, a garum merchant. We can tell by the bones." A morbid thought, perhaps, but a humorous one in your line of work. You make a mental note to check the week's production quotas. There's always more to do, more garum to make, more hungry Romans to satisfy. With production humming along, your thoughts now shift to the logistical dance of getting your garum from the vats to the hungry mouths of Rome. This is where the true strategic genius of a merchant comes into play: the distribution network. Rome is a sprawling metropolis, a labyrinth of narrow streets, bustling markets, and grand avenues, and your garum needs to reach every corner, from the humble taberni in the Subura to the opulent kitchens of the Palatine. You consult your wax tablets, a list of orders and delivery schedules scratched onto the soft surface. Today's deliveries are varied, a testament to the universal appeal of garum. There are a dozen amphorae for a well-known Popina, a fast food establishment near the Circus Maximus, where hurried Romans grab a quick, cheap meal. Then there are a few smaller bottles, the more refined liquamen, destined for a wealthy patron's domus in the exclusive district of the Celian Hill. Each order requires careful planning to ensure timely and efficient delivery. You dispatch your trusted carters, men with strong backs and even stronger bladders, guiding their carts laden with sealed amphorae through the urban maze. The traffic in Rome is notoriously chaotic, a cacophony of creaking wheels, shouting drivers, and the insistent cries of street vendors. It's a logistical nightmare, and delays are a constant threat. A broken axle, a stubborn mule, a sudden throng of senators being carried in their litters. Any of these can throw off your carefully planned schedule. You often joke that navigating Roman traffic is more challenging than making the garum itself, and at least the garum smells consistently. For larger, more prestigious orders, you sometimes arrange for direct delivery via litter, particularly for those sensitive patrician noses that might object to the more rustic aroma of your typical delivery cart. You imagine the slaves carrying the precious garum, carefully avoiding jostles, as they ferry it through the city, the pungent cargo a secret beneath elegant coverings. It's a small touch of luxury, a nod to your most esteemed clientele. One historical fact that often amazes you is the sheer scale of Roman commerce. Goods flowed into Rome from every corner of the empire. Grain from Egypt, olive oil from Hispania, wine from Gaul, and of course, garum from countless coastal towns, each with its own distinctive flavor. Your product, while made locally, participates in this vast, intricate web of trade, a vital component of the Roman diet. Historians still argue about the true efficiency of Roman supply chains and whether Rome was ever truly self-sufficient in any major commodity. You, however, are just focused on making sure your fish sauce gets to its destination. You also have a network of taberni that act as smaller distribution points, selling your garum to individual households. These are often small shops run by freedmen or enterprising women, eager to stock a reliable, high-quality product. You visit a few of these regularly, ensuring they have sufficient stock and listening to their feedback. "Master," one shopkeeper might say, "your garum flies off the shelves," though some complain about the lingering aroma in their atrium. You just shrug. A small price to pay for culinary excellence, you think. A quirky tidbit you often consider is how garum was sometimes packaged in smaller, decorative glass bottles for gifting or for the most discerning palates. While your bulk sales are in clay amphorae, these delicate glass containers were a testament to the sauce's value and prestige. You've even considered producing a small batch of these yourself, a premium line for the truly elite. But the thought of fragile glass being transported through the chaotic Roman streets gives you a mild headache. For now, you stick to sturdy clay. As you finish your planning, you reflect on the invisible threads that connect your production facility to every kitchen in Rome. Each amphora that leaves your officina carries a piece of your labor, your expertise, and yes, your distinct aroma, into the very fabric of Roman life. The city, a sprawling beast with an insatiable appetite, relies on merchants like you to feed its endless hunger. And tomorrow, the cycle will begin anew, with more fish, more salt, and more logistical puzzles to solve. After the meticulous work of production and the logistical puzzle of distribution, it's time for the true art of the Roman merchant. dealing with the clientele. Your reputation, and thus your sales, hinges on your ability to cater to a diverse range of palates and purses. From the bustling tabernae to the exclusive dining rooms of the elite, your garum must appeal to all. You spend a significant portion of your afternoon engaged in this delicate dance. Your officina has a small front office, more of a reception area than anything grand, where customers can come to place orders or sample your wares. Today, a burly innkeeper from a less affluent district is haggling over the price of a bulk order. He wants the best quality, of course, but at a price that would make a pauper blush. "My friend," you tell him, a gentle smile masking your firm resolve, "this isn't mud from the Tiber. This is your garum, the finest in Rome." Think of the satisfied customers, the bursting purses, the sheer culinary delight your patrons will experience. You lean in conspiratorially. And think of the indigestion they won't experience from lesser sauces. A light joke often works wonders in cutting through stubbornness. He grumbles, but eventually, you agree on a price that leaves both of you feeling slightly victorious. Next, a slave from a wealthy senatorial household arrives, bearing a precise list from his master. He demands a small, specific quantity of your finest garum floss flow rum, the clear, amber liquid that you only produce in limited batches. He's uninterested in haggling. His master simply expects the best, regardless of cost. You personally select the amphora, ensuring it's pristine and perfectly sealed. These high-end clients are crucial, not just for the profit they bring, but for the prestige. To have your garum served at a senator's banquet is a mark of true success. You even offer him a small sample, poured into a delicate silver cup, to taste for himself. He sips it gravely, nods with approval, and departs, the amphora held carefully by his attendants. One historical fact that becomes abundantly clear in your dealings is the strict social hierarchy that governed Roman life. While garum was consumed by all classes, the type and quality varied immensely. The rich enjoyed the highly refined, clear liquamen, sometimes flavored with expensive saffron, while the poor made do with the coarser, thicker alec, the sediment left at the bottom of the vats. Historians still argue whether this distinction was purely based on economic means, or if there were genuine culinary preferences that transcended wealth. You know it's mostly about wealth, though, when you see a senator wrinkle his nose at anything less than the perfectly clarified sauce. You also interact with smaller-scale vendors, who buy a few amphorae at a time to resell in their own tabernae. These are the backbone of your business, the consistent, everyday sales that keep the wheels turning. You offer them slight discounts for loyalty, building relationships that ensure a steady stream of income. It's a delicate balance of firmness and generosity, a constant negotiation. A quirky tidbit that sometimes amuses you is how some Romans believed garum to have medicinal properties. It was thought to aid digestion, cure hangovers, and even act as an aphrodisiac. You've never personally seen anyone cured of a hangover by a spoonful of fish sauce, but then again, you're a merchant, not a physician. You certainly don't discourage the belief. Anything that encourages more sales is good for business. You sometimes wonder if, centuries from now, people will look back at their own strange concoctions and find them just as peculiar as Roman fish sauce. As the afternoon wears on, you realize that selling garum isn't just about the product itself. It's about understanding people, their desires, their budgets, and their prejudices. It's about building trust and maintaining a reputation for quality and reliability. You are not just selling a condiment. You are selling a piece of Roman culinary identity, a taste of home, a flavor that binds the empire together, one pungent drop at a time. The last customer of the day departs, and you sigh, feeling the pleasant ache of a day well spent. The aroma of garum clinging to your clothes and hair, a persistent reminder of your trade. The afternoon's customer interactions have been productive, and now, as the sun begins its slow descent, painting the Roman sky in gentle oranges and purples, you allow yourself a brief respite. It's a rare luxury in your demanding life, a moment to step away from the pungent embrace of the officina and simply be. You find a quiet corner in your small office, away from the active vats, and settle onto a simple wooden bench. Your stomach rumbles. It's well past the typical Roman midday meal, the prandium. A slave brings you a simple repast, a piece of crusty bread, a few olives, and a chunk of hard cheese. It's not a lavish spread, but it's sustenance, and you eat slowly, savoring the simple flavors. The bread, made from local grain, is coarse but wholesome. The olives, salty and firm, cleanse your palate, and the cheese, sharp and tangy, provides a satisfying counterpoint to the lingering aroma of fish sauce that, despite your efforts, still permeates the air around you. You take a sip of cool water, wishing for a splash of wine, but you still have matters to attend to before the day is truly done. This midday pause is a time for reflection, for musings on your unconventional career. You are not a senator, nor a celebrated general, nor a famed orator. You are a merchant, a man of trade, and your commodity is a fermented fish product. Yet, there's a quiet pride in what you do. You provide an essential commodity, a flavor that defines Roman cuisine. You contribute to the city's economy, employing workers, engaging in commerce, and feeding the insatiable appetite of the empire. It's a humble, yet vital, role. You recall a childhood memory, sitting on your grandfather's knee, listening to him describe the delicate art of knowing when a batch of garum was perfectly aged, when the liquid turned from murky to clear amber. He had always smelled of fish sauce, a scent that you now carry yourself, a generational inheritance. You wonder if your own children, if the gods bless you with them, will choose to continue the family tradition, or if they'll seek a different path, one perhaps less fragrant. Historians still argue about the prevalence of inherited professions in Roman society and the degree of social mobility possible for those not born into the senatorial or equestrian classes. For you, this trade has provided a comfortable life, even if it is a bit smelly. A quirky tidbit that often crosses your mind is the incredible variety of uses for garum beyond mere seasoning. Romans used it in everything from sauces and stews to baking, and even as a substitute for honey in some recipes. You've heard tales of it being mixed with wine to create a medicinal tonic, or combined with pepper for a spicy dip. It truly was the ketchup of the ancient world, though far more pervasive. You smile, imagining some future civilization trying to reconstruct a Roman meal based solely on the copious amounts of garum found in ancient culinary texts. They'd probably conclude Romans had an iron stomach and no sense of smell. As you finish your meager meal, you lean back, feeling the quiet hum of your officina around you. The gentle gurgle of the vats, the distant clatter from the packing area, the occasional murmur of your workers. It's a comforting symphony of industry. Your mind drifts, contemplating the vastness of the Roman Empire, the legions marching across distant lands, the grand public works, the intricate legal system. And yet, at the heart of it all, is something as humble and as fundamentally Roman as a good amphora of fish sauce. It's a reminder that even the grandest empires are built on the small, everyday necessities, and you, the purveyor of pungent perfection, are a crucial cog in that vast machine. The brief respite is over. Time to tackle the less glamorous, but equally important, administrative side of your business. The brief tranquility of your midday meal is a distant memory as you transition to the most mentally taxing, and perhaps least glamorous, part of your day, the afternoon administration. This is where the papyrus scrolls unfurl, the abacus clicks, and your mind grapples with numbers, invoices, and the endless minutiae of Roman commerce. You retreat to your small, sparsely furnished office, the only truly private space in your officina, and prepare to face the dreaded ledgers. Your desk, a sturdy wooden slab, is already piled high with wax tablets, rolled papyrus scrolls, and a collection of styluses and inks. You light a small lamp, even though it's still daylight, to cast a focused glow on your workspace, shutting out the bustling, fragrant reality of the vats outside. The air here, though still tinged with the ubiquitous garum scent, is cleaner, allowing for a clearer head. First, there are the daily accounts. You meticulously record the fish purchased, the salt used, the amphory filled, and most importantly, the sales made. Every sestertius earned, every denarius spent, must be accounted for. You use an abacus, your fingers flying over the beads with practiced speed, performing calculations that would make a modern calculator blush. It's a system that relies on precision and vigilance, for a single misplaced digit can throw off your entire financial standing. You often sigh, wishing for some magical Roman spreadsheet, but alas, the abacus is your best friend. Then there are the invoices to prepare and the debts to chase. Senator Gracchus, you note with a grimace, is still outstanding for a substantial quantity of garum sociorum from last month. He's a notorious slow payer, always citing some unforeseen expense or a momentary lapse of memory. You draft a polite but firm letter, outlining the amount due and subtly reminding him of your long-standing relationship. You know he won't be pleased, but business is business, even with the elite. Historians still argue about the true nature of Roman debt and credit systems, with some suggesting they were far more sophisticated than often portrayed, while others highlight the constant struggle for repayment. You, however, just want your money. You also manage your employee records, wages paid to freedmen, allowances for slaves, and the occasional bonus for exceptional work. You believe in fair compensation, as it keeps your workforce motivated and loyal. A happy worker, as you've often observed, produces better garum, and is less likely to misplace a handful of valuable herbs. A quirky tidbit about Roman bookkeeping is the use of different types of records: daily cash books, ledgers for specific accounts, and even private journals for personal expenses. It was a complex system, requiring significant dedication. You sometimes wonder if the Roman god of commerce, Mercury, ever got a headache from all the accounting. Perhaps that's why he's so often depicted with winged sandals, to make a quick escape from the papyrus pile. You unroll a scroll detailing the current market prices for fish, salt, and crucially, your competitor's garum. Keeping abreast of these fluctuations is vital for setting your own prices and ensuring you remain competitive without undermining your profit margins. You scowl at Marcus's latest offering, priced slightly lower than yours. He's trying to undercut you again, you think, but you trust in the superior quality of your product. You won't engage in a price war. Your reputation is built on excellence, not cheapness. As the shadows lengthen, you review your inventory. How much finished garum is in the horium, your storage room? How many amphorae are ready for bottling? How much raw material do you need to order for next week? It's a constant juggle, ensuring you have enough stock to meet demand without overproducing and tying up valuable capital in perishable goods. You make notes on a wax tablet for tomorrow's orders and tasks, already planning the next day's battle. The mental exhaustion is real, But there's a perverse satisfaction in seeing the numbers balance, in knowing that your enterprise is stable and growing. You blow out the lamp, the smell of garum rushing back in, a comforting reminder of the source of all these numbers and scrolls. With the financial ledgers reluctantly balanced, your thoughts inevitably drift to the unseen battles fought daily in the Roman marketplace, the subtle skirmishes with your competitors. It's not enough to produce excellent garum. You must also navigate the treacherous currents of commercial rivalry, where cunning and quick thinking are as valuable as quality ingredients. Rome is a vast city, but the market for fish sauce, though ubiquitous, is fiercely contested. There's Marcus, of course, your most direct rival. His officina is just a few streets away, and his garum, you secretly believe, always has a faint, unpleasant bitterness. Yet, he consistently tries to undercut your prices, preying on those customers who prioritize economy over excellence. You've heard whispers that he sometimes dilutes his garum, or uses older, cheaper fish. Historians still argue about the prevalence of adulteration in Roman food products and the effectiveness of Roman consumer protection laws. You, however, rely on your reputation for purity to combat his cheap tactics. You recall a light joke often heard in the taverns. Marcus's garum is so bad, it makes the fish wish they'd never been caught. It always brings a wry smile to your face. Beyond direct competition, there are always rumors, whispers, and outright conspiracies. A rival merchant might spread false tales of your vats being unclean, or your fish being diseased. You've even heard ludicrous stories of your garum being made with things that are definitely not fish. It's infuriating, but you've learned to shrug it off. The best defense is a consistently superior product and a loyal customer base. You often make it a point to visibly inspect your own vats, even when customers are present, a silent retort to any malicious gossip. You also keep an eye on the supply chain. A sudden shortage of mackerel from the Tyrrhenian Sea, or a surge in salt prices from the coastal pans, could be exploited by a competitor to gain an advantage. You maintain good relationships with multiple suppliers, ensuring you're never beholden to a single source. This strategic diversification, a crucial element of Roman business acumen, protects you from unexpected market shocks. You learned early on that relying on one source is like building your whole officina on quicksand. A quirky tidbit is the existence of trade guilds, or collegia, in Rome. While ostensibly social and religious organizations, these guilds often served as powerful lobbying groups, protecting their members' interests and sometimes engaging in fierce competition with other guilds. You are a member of the Fishmongers' Guild, but even within your own collegium, rivalries exist. It's a constant dance of cooperation and competition, a delicate balance. You often find yourself at guild meetings, listening to complaints about market encroachment or unfair practices, always with an ear out for news that might affect your own business. There's also the issue of imperial taxes and regulations. The Roman state, with its insatiable appetite for revenue, can impose new levies or restrict certain trade routes, often with little warning. Staying informed about these changes and adapting quickly is crucial for survival. It's a constant bureaucratic burden, a reminder that even the grandest empire has its petty paperwork. You groan internally at the thought of another tax edict. As the sun dips lower, casting long shadows across your office, you consider the larger economic forces at play. Rome is a vast, demanding market, but it is also a place of immense opportunity. For every rival seeking to undermine you, there are a dozen new customers eager for your product. The key is vigilance, adaptation, and an unwavering commitment to quality. You recall a particularly satisfying moment when Senator Gracchus, despite his slow payments, publicly praised your garum at a banquet, much to the chagrin of Marcus, who was also present. Small victories, but sweet nonetheless. In the cutthroat world of Roman commerce, such endorsements are worth more than 1,000 sesterces. The long day of production, administration, and commercial maneuvering slowly draws to a close, but for a Roman merchant, the day often isn't truly over until the social obligations are met. Tonight, you've been invited to a cena, a dinner party, at the lavish domus of a wealthy equestrian, a burgeoning patron named Lucius Cornelius. Such invitations are not merely for pleasure. They are crucial opportunities for networking, for reinforcing your status, and, most importantly, for subtly promoting your product. You return home from your officina, shedding the pervasive aroma of fish sauce as best you can with a thorough bath and a fresh tunic. Your finest toga, though still modest by senatorial standards, is pressed and ready. You feel the faint, almost ghostly, scent of garum still clinging to your skin, a phantom limb of your profession. You smile. It's unavoidable, a part of who you are. A light joke you sometimes share with trusted friends. My wife claims I smell of success, but I think she just means fish. The domus of Lucius Cornelius is grand, bustling with slaves, and alive with the murmur of conversation and the clink of silverware. The entryway is adorned with frescoes, and the air is fragrant with exotic perfumes and the aroma of roasted meats. It's a stark contrast to the gritty reality of your fish sauce workshop, and you take a moment to appreciate the fruits of Roman prosperity. You are ushered into the triclinium, the dining room, where guests are already reclining on lavish couches around a low table. You exchange greetings, bowing politely to those of higher status, offering a firm handshake to your peers. There are senators, other merchants, a well-known poet, and even a minor magistrate. It's a diverse gathering, perfect for discreet marketing. The cena begins, a multi-course affair. Slaves bring platters laden with appetizers, olives, eggs, salads, and small pastries. Then come the main courses, roasted wild boar, succulent fish, and various stews. And of course, everywhere, in small amphorae or delicate glass cruets, is garum. It's served alongside almost every dish, used as a dipping sauce, a condiment, and an ingredient in the rich Roman gravies. You discreetly observe which garum is being served. Tonight, much to your satisfaction, you spot your distinctive amphorae at several points on the table. Lucius Cornelius, it seems, is a discerning patron. When the conversation lulls, he turns to you, a warm smile on his face. Our esteemed host Gaius is responsible for this magnificent garum tonight, he announces, gesturing to one of your amphorae. A truly exquisite flavor, wouldn't you agree? You offer a humble smile, deflecting the praise slightly. It is merely the bounty of the sea, expertly guided by the gods, Lucius. Though I must confess, this particular batch of garum floss florum was made from an exceptionally fine run of Spanish mackerel. This is your moment to subtly educate and impress. You explain, without sounding boastful, a small detail about the quality of the fish, or the length of fermentation, or a specific aspect of your production process that sets your garum apart. Historians still argue about the true role of banquets in Roman society, whether they were primarily for social bonding, political maneuvering, or simply lavish display. For you, they are undeniably a blend of all three, with a strong dose of commercial opportunity. You manage to engage a senator in a discussion about the recent fish catches, hinting at the potential for even higher quality garum in the coming season. You deftly steer the conversation towards the economic benefits of local production versus imported goods. A quirky tidbit that often comes to mind at these dinners is the Roman obsession with exotic ingredients and flavors. While garum was a staple, the truly wealthy would spare no expense for rare spices, imported delicacies, and even outlandish dishes like flamingo tongues or dormice. Yet, even with these extravagant tastes, garum remained an indispensable part of almost every meal. It was the constant, the culinary anchor in a sea of culinary excess. You discreetly watch as a guest liberally douses his roasted dormouse with your garum. A strange pairing, perhaps, but a sale nonetheless. The evening wears on, filled with polite conversation, good food, and the ever-present reassuring aroma of your success. The cena at Lucius Cornelius's domus finally winds down. You make your polite farewells, your stomach pleasantly full, your mind buzzing with conversations and potential future contacts. As you step out into the Roman night, the air is cooler, carrying the faint, sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine mingling with the lingering, familiar urban aromas. The sounds of the city are softer now, the distant echo of a legionary patrol, the laughter from a nearby taberna, the rhythmic splash of a public fountain. But beneath it all, clinging to your tunic, your hair, and perhaps your very soul, is the indelible aroma of garum. You begin your walk home, a comfortable journey through the quieter, lamplit streets. The pervasive scent of fish sauce, though less assaulting than in your oficina, is still present. It's a scent that has become so intimately a part of you that you barely notice it most of the time, like the feel of your own skin. Yet, at moments like these, in the stillness of the night, it becomes a distinct presence, a phantom companion. You sometimes wonder if the gods themselves have blessed you with this unique olfactory aura, a mark of your trade. You pass by darkened shops, their wares locked away for the night, and quiet Insulae, the multi-storied apartment blocks where most Romans reside. A group of revelers stumbles by, their raucous laughter echoing down the street, and you politely step aside, a mild smile on your face. Even in the dead of night, Rome rarely truly sleeps. One historical fact that you appreciate in these quiet moments is the sheer ingenuity of Roman engineering. From the aqueducts that bring fresh water into the city, to the intricate sewage systems that carry away its waste. These unseen marvels, the silent backbone of Roman life, are what allow a city of millions to function, enabling businesses like yours to thrive. Historians still argue whether Rome's urban planning was truly effective in preventing disease, or if its dense population was always on the brink of epidemic. You just know that a city with fresh water and a decent sewer system is good for business, and certainly helps with the occasional spillage at the oficina. You run a hand over your chin, feeling the rough stubble of a long day's growth. The thought of your comfortable bed, and the merciful oblivion of sleep, is a powerful lure. The day has been productive, exhausting, and filled with the unique challenges of your trade. You've overseen production, managed your workers, navigated the markets, charmed your customers, and even engaged in the delicate dance of Roman social climbing. Each task, each interaction, leaves its mark, not just on your ledger, but on your very being. A quirky tidbit that sometimes brings a smile to your face is the thought of those future scholars, thousands of years from now, meticulously excavating Roman sites and finding remnants of your trade. They'll find the amphorae, perhaps even some petrified fish bones, and they'll wonder about the people who made this strange, ubiquitous condiment. Will they truly grasp the essence of Roman life, the blend of sophistication and practicality, of grandeur and grime, that defined this empire? You hope so. You hope they understand that a Roman fish sauce merchant, despite the smell, was a vital part of it all. You sometimes imagine them finding your wax tablet, still bearing the unresolved debt of Senator Gracchus, and chuckle. Some things, you think, never change. As you near your domus, the scent of your own hearth fire, faintly mingled with the familiar garum, grows stronger. It's a comforting scent, the smell of home, of family, of safety. The door creaks open, and you step inside, leaving the Roman night behind, but carrying the day and its distinct aroma with you. You close the heavy wooden door of your domus behind you, the faint sounds of the Roman night replaced by the intimate quiet of your home. The day's armor of commerce and competition begins to fall away, replaced by the softer layers of domestic life. Your wife, perhaps already asleep, or perhaps still tending to the household, is the anchor of your personal world, a welcome respite from the relentless demands of your profession. The lingering scent of garum, an echo of your day, might still cling to you, but here in the familiar warmth of your domus, it blends with other more comforting aromas. The faint scent of charcoal from the kitchen, the subtle perfume of your wife's hair oil, the earthy smell of the household shrine. You move through the atrium, the central hall, noting the familiar layout, the flickering oil lamp casting dancing shadows on the walls. You find your wife, Lydia, in the main living area, perhaps mending a tunic or overseeing a slave preparing for tomorrow. She looks up as you enter, a soft smile gracing her lips. "You're late, my love," she says, her voice gentle, devoid of accusation. "Another triumph for the Garum King, I presume?" You offer a tired smile in return, and she steps forward, taking your hand. Even after years of marriage, her touch is a comfort, a reminder of the life you build together, a life that the pungent profits of your trade help to sustain. You recount a few anecdotes from your day: the stubborn innkeeper, the demanding senator's slave, a minor victory over Marcus. She listens patiently, occasionally offering a knowing nod or a soft chuckle. She understands the rhythms of your life, the relentless pursuit of profit, the small triumphs and frustrations that punctuate your days. She is, in many ways, your silent partner, managing the household, raising your children, should the gods bless you with them, and ensuring that when you return from the pungent battlefield of commerce, you find a haven. One historical fact that becomes apparent in these quiet domestic scenes is the clear division of labor in Roman society. While men engaged in public life and commerce, Roman women, particularly those of your standing, managed the household, overseen by a multitude of slaves. Their role, though often unseen in public forums, was absolutely vital to the functioning of Roman families and the broader economy. Historians still argue whether Roman women genuinely held significant influence within the domus despite their lack of public power, or if their sphere was largely restricted to domesticity. You, however, know that Lydia's wisdom and management keep your home, and by extension, your sanity, intact. You might glance into the small cubiculum where your children, if you have any, are sleeping soundly. The thought of their future, of providing for them, is a powerful motivator. Will they inherit your trade, or will they pursue a different path? You hope they choose a life of purpose, whatever it may be. A quirky tidbit is the Roman practice of having children learn their father's trade from a young age. While you wouldn't force your children into the garum business, you do occasionally bring them to the officina to witness the workings, to expose them to the realities of your livelihood, and perhaps to let them acclimate to the smell. It's a subtle form of education, a way to pass on the knowledge of generations, even if they choose not to fully embrace it. You finally settle down, perhaps by a small brazier if the evening is cool, and allow the day's tensions to slowly unwind. The weight of responsibility, the pressures of the market, the demands of your trade, they all recede into the background. Here, in the quiet intimacy of your home, you are not just a garum merchant. You are a husband, a father, a man seeking peace at the end of a long, fragrant day. The familiar, comforting presence of your wife beside you is a balm, a quiet reassurance that despite the challenges and the pervasive odor, your life is rich and meaningful. You finally settle into your lectus, the simple bed a welcome sight after a long day. The darkness of the cubiculum is a comforting blanket, allowing your mind to drift, to reflect on the unique, often pungent tapestry of your life. You are a Roman fish sauce merchant, a purveyor of fermented delights, and it's a life that, despite its aromatic challenges, fills you with a quiet sense of purpose. You close your eyes, and the day's events replay, the chaotic energy of the Forum Piscarium, the rhythmic gurgle of the vats in your officina, the stern yet fair negotiations with customers, the subtle dance of social climbing at the Sena. Each memory carries with it a faint, phantom scent of garum, an odor that has become so intrinsically linked with your identity, your successes, and your very existence. You sometimes wonder if, in the afterlife, you will still carry this scent, a distinguishing mark among the shades of the underworld. You think of the vastness of the Roman Empire, a sprawling entity held together by legions and laws, but also by the humble, everyday necessities of life. You provide one of those necessities, a fundamental flavor that unites the diverse palates of Rome. From the humblest slave breaking bread in a taberna to the emperor himself dining on pheasant, your garum, in one form or another, graces their tables. It's a small but significant contribution to the grand machinery of empire. A quirky tidbit that sometimes amuses you is the fact that garum was so valuable that it was sometimes used as a form of currency or as a luxury gift. The best batches were stored in beautifully decorated amphorae, almost like works of art, traded across the Mediterranean, a testament to its economic and cultural significance. You sometimes allow yourself a moment of pride, imagining your own distinctive amphorae, with your family's seal, traveling to distant lands, a small piece of your labor connecting Rome to the wider world. Historians still argue about the precise origins of garum, whether it truly predated the Romans or if they merely perfected an existing practice. You, however, know that its roots are ancient, a culinary secret passed down through generations, improved upon with each passing century. You are a link in that long, unbroken chain, a guardian of a pungent tradition. You are more than just a merchant. You are an artisan, a chemist, a purveyor of ancient taste. As sleep begins to pull you under, the sounds of Rome fade into a soft hum. The lingering images of the day soften, blurring into a peaceful haze. The smell of the garum, once so sharp and demanding, now seems to transform into something almost comforting, a familiar lullaby that whispers of hard work, honest trade, and a life well lived. The city outside whispers, its ancient stones holding countless stories, fading now into the quietude of night. Your breath softens, slows, your body sinking deeper into the warmth of your bed. The day's long journey is complete. The hustle and clamor of the market, the pungent symphony of the vats, the intricate dance of Roman life, all drift away, becoming distant echoes in the vast silence. Let go of the day's demands, the persistent scent of garum, the weight of 1,000 responsibilities. Allow your mind to clear, to simply be. The world outside can wait until morning. All that remains now is the gentle embrace of peace, a quiet calm settling over you, easing every muscle, softening every thought. Drift now, let the darkness deepen around you, a soft, comforting wave carrying you towards the sweet, restorative depths of sleep. End of script. Sweet dreams.